I went from doing drugs and addicted to bad things at 17, 18 years old to getting with my wife at 19.
Yeah.
Changing my entire life.
Yep.
Changing my entire friend group.
Yep.
Honestly, I think it's because I wasn't focused on chasing girls and
Yep.
spending money.
When you go into business, don't think of it as it's going to be one thing you're going to arrive. You never arrive.
Right. People are your biggest asset.
Mm-hmm.
The best real estate that you ever have in your entire life are between both your ears.
Yes.
It's you, man.
What's going on, my people? Welcome back to It's Not Dead Because It Isn't Dead. Today, I have a real treat for you guys. Dylan Clark. He's an entrepreneur, self-made, but more than self-made, actually coming from a kind of an underdog story, kind of like mine.
Yeah.
Which I love, right?
Yeah.
Regional manager for a big sales company. On top of that, owner of Clark's Cribs, which is basically an Airbnb business.
Yes, sir.
Which he's been killing it at that. And most recently, about a year ago, he just founded Yavapai, which is a county here in Arizona, Pest Pros.
Yep.
Which is a pest control company as well.
Yep.
So serial entrepreneur. I know that he's going to be dropping a lot of bombs right now, a lot of fire.
Yeah.
So pay attention to what he's saying. And also he's going to be talking to us about P.I.G.
Yeah.
Which I love. You know, I was reading about P.I.G. So he's going to give us a little bit of the details of what P.I.G, P-I-G, means.
Yeah.
So with that, man, welcome.
Dude, thanks for having me on the pod. I appreciate it.
Yes.
Excited to be here. It's great weather in Arizona right now. It's freaking amazing.
We finally can wear coats.
I know.
You know?
Yeah. It's like you're waking up in the morning, you're in a heavy jacket, and then as the day goes, you just start shredding.
Yeah.
I swear by like 1 or 2 p.m., I'm like ready to go swimming. You know what I mean? And then it gets cold again. So
that's right.
No, I'm excited to be here. Definitely crazy story. Love to share with you guys, whatever you guys want to know, and hopefully can go add some value to everybody. Definitely got my hands into quite a few different things. I've learned a lot over the years. I've made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
But all in good faith though. Like
for sure, everything's
really planned out in a really good way. And I'm just excited to be here and to go share that.
Yeah, 100%, man. Again, super excited. I think that a lot of the times, just like you said, people don't share their stories. And that's the reason why I'm so passionate about this project. It's Not Dead project is because I want to share my story, but I also want people that come here to share their stories.
Yeah.
And be an open book.
Yeah.
And I think we've done a pretty good job at that.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've talked about crazy stuff in this pod. So don't be afraid to get crazy. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, no worries, man. I like to speak my mind. So
yes,
I'm excited for that. I mean, for me, it's just like, if you're not being yourself and speaking directly to people, like it's really hard to get your message out there.
You cannot connect.
Yeah. You can't connect.
Yeah.
And I'm the type of guy, can I cuss on the podcast a little bit?
Yeah,
cool.
Totally.
Be
yourself.
Yeah. I'm just excited to get what you guys, want to talk about and to get into the story. I know that I sent over some things to you guys to talk about and hit some bullet points.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm mainly interested kind of, you seeing what I have of what you want to know about yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And the thing here is, I know you have a really cool story. So that's the reason why, we brought you on.
Yeah.
And I think, again, just talking about value, that can bring value to other people.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Because sometimes, just like your hat says redemption, we think that we make a mistake, we cannot redeem ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's an ongoing process. It's not something that you just say, okay, I'm redeemed.
Yeah.
And that's it. No, like maybe if you die today, yeah, cool, you're redeemed.
Yeah.
But tomorrow you're going to make another mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tell my sales guys a lot, like, you got to reinvent yourself every year. If you want to become the best version of yourself, or you're trying to, get better. But when you're reinventing yourself, like, you can't let the past define who you are now.
Correct.
Like, if you did things in the past that weren't good, or maybe you screwed somebody over, or maybe you didn't treat a situation the right way that you should have, you can't carry that on to the next year.
100%.
Like, if you're really going to go reinvent yourself and you're going to go, get to the next level of your identity as a person, you gotta let that stuff go.
Yep.
And you gotta stop dragging it through, or your past will just always define you.
100%.
And it'll never leave you.
Well, and it's not because the past doesn't want to leave you. It's you're not leaving your past.
Right.
It's on you.
You gotta let go.
You have to let go.
Because you can meet somebody random and they have no idea about what you did in the past.
Yeah.
They have no idea. They only know what you're gonna tell them
100%.
and what you perceive of yourself.
100%. So, bro, let's get into your basically your upbringing, right?
Yeah, man.
Let's talk about like how you got started into business.
Sure.
Talk to me about that.
So I'm from a little town called P.I.G, Arizona.
I know P.I.G.
Lake
Powell.
North.
Yeah.
A lot of people watching the pod probably have no idea where that's at, and if you do, then you've seen paradise.
Yes. It's beautiful.
It's a really small town.
Mm-hmm.
Really remote. There's not like any big cities next to it. And I moved around a lot. When I was younger, my mom would bounce us around from Idaho to Arizona. But, long story short, I was just that kid that just like, I knew that there was college. I knew all the right routes that everybody else was kind of taking. And I just kind of wanted to be a little bit more adventurous.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was going to get into.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was going to be.
Yep.
But it kind of found me. It's kind of funny story. One of my buddies, his name's Jay. He was getting married in P.I.G. And I don't know if you remember the energy drink back in the day called Verve.
Yeah.
Or not. You remember that?
Yeah.
Well, there was these guys in P.I.G like trying to sell it, get people to get signed up and to go sell your friends on it. And I met this guy named Jay who was getting married to one of my family members, and he was a business guy in the kind of the door-to-door industry.
Okay.
And I was like, dude, you got to go get this energy drink Verb. And I was 16 years old selling this guy on this stuff. Okay. And he's like, I got a job for you, man. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, how old are you? And I'm like, actually at the time I was 15. And he's like, dude, when you turn 16, if I get your mom's permission, you're gonna come work with me.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I got introduced into the sales industry at like just a really young age.
Gotcha.
And dude, I was all about taking risks. Like I wanted to go travel, and the opportunity was in California, and I just jumped right on it. I was kind of already living by myself at 16.
Okay.
And I want you to think about that. Like, do you have kids?
Yeah, I do.
How old are they?
So 10 is my oldest.
10?
Yep.
So 6 more years. Just imagine him just leaving you, man.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way.
That would be crazy.
I meet a 16-year-old now, and I'm like, there's no way.
Yeah.
I'm going to let this kid go do what I did.
Yeah.
It's really weird how that works. But, yeah, man, my mom was she was really cool. She had me when she was 39. So I usually tell the joke she was totally ready for me to go. I was the last kid, and she had me late already, and she was like, hey, you want to move out early? Go ahead, but she trusts me, man. And I could have gotten into a lot of bad things, but
why did you move out? Just cause you wanted that freedom?
I wanted freedom. I wanted to do my own thing. You
didn't want to depend on somebody else. Was that it?
Yeah. Well, I grew up really poor. We didn't have much. Not to say my mom wasn't there for me or she didn't do things for me. She was the coolest mom ever.
Yeah.
And if there was a gift that she could have got me, she would have given me it.
Got it.
Even if it was her last dime,
Yeah.
But unfortunately, like, we just didn't have much.
Yeah. No resources.
So that's all I wanted.
Yeah.
Right. When I was young, I had friends that they were getting Nikes and all this cool stuff growing up. And I was like, man, I want that, and I was like, my brother always tell me, if you want something, you just got to go get it by yourself.
Yeah.
Like, no one's ever going to do anything for you in this world.
Yeah.
Like, you need to go make it happen on your own.
Wow. How much older was your brother?
My brother's 6 years older than me.
Okay, gotcha.
So it's
have a brother
pretty
too,
big age gap.
Yeah, the same thing with me. I have a brother. I have my older brother, one that is literally 1 year older, and then another one that is like 7 years older, and he would tell me stuff like that. So that's
he
just
always tell me, like,
when
you get older, you're gonna have to get a job, and you're gonna have to pay for these things yourself, and you can't always just come ask me or mom for it. And I was like, cool, I'll go get a job.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
But I never wanted to have I never wanted to work in P.I.G.
Gotcha.
I didn't want to get stuck there.
Yeah.
You see people that get stuck in their small towns, and what I notice is when people go to high school, they get a job to like make money to have fun for the summer.
Yeah.
And then they get a car, which has a car payment. Mm-hmm. And then they want to move out of mom's house. So they get an apartment or something. And then they get stuck.
Yep.
Right? Because if you leave the job, you're going to lose your car and you're going to lose your apartment.
Correct.
So it's like, they're like, well, I can't go anywhere. I'm stuck here because I don't want to give up the only freedom that I have.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the first freedom that you get as a kid is a car and maybe your own place with some roommates.
Correct.
And I didn't care about any of that, dude.
Yeah.
I was just willing to give it all up, go try something new. And I was told I can make $20,000 knocking on doors.
Yeah.
And that was like $1 million to me. I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And I took the opportunity. I actually borrowed $500 from my girlfriend at the time to get the Greyhound bus ticket.
Wow.
To get out to area that summer.
Greyhounding, huh?
Yeah. So I was 16 on a Greyhound bus, backpack full of clothes, headed to California and having no idea what's going to happen next.
With a big dream, though.
With the dream of not wanting to go back.
That was your dream.
I was like, hey, I can't come back and say I failed.
Yeah.
Because you're talking to all your buddies at that time and everybody at 16, 17-year-old kind of all got it figured out, you know? And the last thing I want to do is go tell them I'm all about to go get rich and come back as a failure.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but I did come back after that summer and I actually went back to high school as my sophomore year. I did the sales, I did it, came back, and I was sitting there in class and I was like, man, this is not for me. Like, I didn't feel like I was learning anything.
Yeah.
Like, man, sales.
Yep.
You learn so much so fast.
Yep.
And I was like, man, I really got addicted to it that summer.
Yeah.
And then
how much did you make that first summer?
That first summer, shoot, man.
Let's be honest here.
It's hard to say because I didn't save anything.
Okay. So
I would say probably around like 10 grand.
Okay. So this is something that I want people to understand.
Yeah.
Right. The process doesn't look like, oh my gosh, that first summer I made $200K.
No.
It never looks that way.
No.
And that's not reality.
No.
What social media tells us right now is that you can go and you could have said, you know what I mean? You could have lied to me right now.
Yeah, 6 figures my first summer.
Correct, which was not the case, you know, but you learn a lot. So you probably made a lot more money than the $200K because you learned a skill that was going to feed you forever.
Yes.
Makes sense?
It was more lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
Like hanging out with everybody in the apartment that we had. We were all staying together as a sales team.
Yeah.
Waking up with each other, going out together, hitting the restaurant or smoking some weed after the doors. Like kind of having like that college dorm kind of feel, but with no classes.
Yeah.
Instead of classes, you're just out working.
Yep.
I was way more addicted to that than money.
Gotcha.
When I got back to school, it wasn't, I can't make the same amount of money I was making. I could have probably got a job at the lake.
Yeah.
Washing houseboats.
Yep.
Making the same 10 grand a summer.
Yep.
Yep. But it was more the lifestyle I got addicted to.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was crazy.
Yep.
You never knew what was going to happen next day.
Yeah.
You're never in the same area.
Yeah.
There was a lot to get addicted to at a younger age. And I got up in class. The bell rang for lunch. One of my buddies did it with me. Did the summer. I looked at him. I was like, dude, let's go call our boss back and let's just go do that full time.
Yeah.
Like, let's just leave. Like, we'll figure out school some other way. And I really try to keep going to school because I think education is important.
Yeah.
I don't think everybody should drop out. That's definitely not the message I want to bring off to people.
Yeah.
But for me, I knew I wasn't going to go to college.
Yeah.
I knew that wasn't, for me. So it was an easy, fun, crazy decision. And my mom said, hey, as long as you do homeschool, I don't care.
Yeah.
You can go anywhere you want. Just go finish school and do homeschool.
Yeah.
I let her down on that. I tried, man. But when you're in the mix of sales and money and partying and all that at a young age, like, dude, I used to party, when you're that young, like, because the second summer when I was 17, I did make 90 grand, close to 6 figures.
Yep.
because, I had more experience under my belt.
Yep.
And that's when the partying started to happen.
Gotcha.
Because you're that young with that type of money and no one to really tell you or guide you.
Correct.
Of what to do with it.
Yeah.
So it went to a lot of bad places.
Yep.
But I don't regret any of that.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of nice because I got it out young.
Uh-huh.
I see a lot of guys that, they end up being 25 or 26 and they never really got to party or they never really got to go out. And they start having those thoughts of like, man, like I kind of miss that. And it messes with them.
Yeah.
For me, it's like, hey, I got all the partying out at a young age.
Yeah.
And I was able to get out of that and not, feel like I never got to experience it.
Gotcha. So that second summer, you made 90 grand.
Yeah.
How did it feel to make that kind of money?
Dude, it felt great. Like,
I mean, it's 9x what you made the previous summer. Yeah.
Way more.
Yeah.
I was the top sales rep that summer in my organization. Everybody was praising me.
Gotcha.
Because I was so young.
Gotcha.
They're like, dude, you're 17 and you're out selling everyone.
Yeah.
Like, and that fed me more.
Yeah.
Right. And I got addicted to people saying that.
Yeah.
And I was like, kind of got addicted to being the youngest guy in the room.
Yeah.
So my new goal at that time was, how can I be the youngest guy and the most successful guy?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the image I wanted to portray at that point.
Correct.
Like young and successful.
Yep.
And I chased that and it was fun. And I got to do a lot of fun things with that money, man. Got to go on a lot of trips.
Yeah.
Got to hang out with a lot of friends, like practically do whatever you wanted,
Yeah.
If people are watching the podcast and they don't understand a sales job, you're not 9 to 5 days a week all year. You get a lot of time off.
Yep.
And in that time off, you get to have a lot of fun and you get to live a little bit.
That's right.
So yeah, that's kind of where it all started. But my mom tells me before that, she always knew I had that entrepreneur in me. Because when I was 14, so before the sales and everything, to bring it back a little bit further, I was doing Magic Castle.
Okay.
So I was really into magic and I got a gig in Hollywood to go to the Magic Castle and to perform there.
Wow.
And I was 14 and I was like on stage in front of hundreds of people doing magic tricks.
Wow.
And
how did you learn magic?
Just living in the middle of nowhere, man.
Yeah.
P.I.G, Arizona. You got no gas station. I mean, where I lived, it was on the outside of town. Like, my mom loved playing rummy.
Yeah.
With a deck of cards.
Yeah.
So I just started learning tricks.
Yeah.
And then when her friends would come around, I would show them a magic trick and they'd be like, oh my God, that was actually good. And I started making my own up.
Yeah.
And somehow one of my mom's crazy friends was they were at the house, they were doing shit together or whatever, they were doing drugs together, whatever. And he was like, hey man, I'm gonna get you a gig in Hollywood. And I'm like, dude, this guy's smoking something. Like, I'm like, Mom, what kind of friends are you bringing around, man? But no, he was actually a really cool guy. His name's Jesse Boleyn. And he came through, man. He called me up. He's like, hey, I got you the gig. Come do this gig. And from there, I knew that my life was going to be more than the traditional route. Like, I wanted to be an entertainer, a sales, like whatever it was. And I think that's what really made it easy for me to make those decisions at 16, 17 to go do all that.
Got it. That makes sense. So on the magic side of things, like just
and I can show you some killer magic tricks.
Really?
Man.
You still do it?
Oh yeah. I mean, not like kind of just like as a hobby. Like
for fun.
If I'm at a party or I want to, show somebody a trick, blow their mind a little bit. I can do that,
That's cool.
But it was fun. It's cool to entertain people, man. Like there's not a better feeling in the world, I think, than watching somebody have joy.
Yeah, 100%.
Like get smiles and happy and sales was that too.
Yeah.
Like when I go save somebody $50 on their TV bill, they'd be like hugging me.
Yeah.
Dylan, thank you so much. Like, oh my gosh, thank you. Like, I can't believe you came over. We were just thinking about changing or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Dude, hundreds of those.
That's
and it just feeds the ego and it feels good, to make other people happy.
100%. So is there money in that? Like, obviously, if you make it big, yes. But what about on the lower level? Like, not the major leagues, but the minor leagues. Is there money in there?
In Magic?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the world is built around entertainers.
Correct.
And not everybody can afford Chris Angels or David Blaine.
Yep.
So for me, I was more doing it to kind of be in the lights, kind of, hey, like, I could become somebody. I was really addicted to Chris Angels and stuff. And of course I wanted to be one of those guys.
Yeah,
and
sure.
be a famous magician, but that faded out pretty quick.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to do magic tricks with 16-year-old girls and they're like, this is weird.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't want to be the nerdy kid, doing magic tricks in the back of the classroom.
Yeah.
Even though I knew how to do it, but yeah, I mean, there's money in it for sure.
Yeah.
But I didn't really understand it at that time.
Correct.
The show that I did in Hollywood was an audition.
Gotcha. Okay.
If I passed that audition, then I would have got access to the library. And what the library is it's where you can learn every magic trick ever done and how they do it. And it's very, very confidential.
Is that kind of like a club kind of thing? I had no idea this existed.
It's kind of like you have to become a member to get access.
Gotcha.
And if you get access, you're kind of signing like an NDA that you're never going to tell the secrets in that room.
But it's kind of like an audition to get to inside, basically.
Yeah.
So who's a part of it? Like every big magician?
Yeah. All those guys are all a part of it.
Really? It's kind of like a school though, because they teach you it. Okay.
Yeah. It's a school and they want you to perform at their club.
Gotcha.
At the Magic Castle.
Gotcha.
So you get access. They'd set you up with shows, and I guess that's what I was going for.
Oh, okay.
It's like, hey, if I get the audition and I pass it, like, I'm gonna do magic in Hollywood. That's my path.
Yeah.
And they told me I was too young.
Gotcha.
They're like, hey, you're really good, man.
Yeah.
Give it a couple more years, keep practicing, and come back.
Yeah.
And I just never came back.
You just never came back.
I got tied up with the cell stuff.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Which no regrets.
Yeah. No.
But yeah, that's kind of how that unfolded for sure.
Yeah, and sometimes we get it kind of mixed up, right? Because we're like, hey, we're going for this, but then life is taking you in a different place.
Yeah.
And I always tell that about business. It's like, hey, if the current is taking you in a direction, it's easy to go, okay, start rowing that way. Yeah. Because if you start rowing against the current, you think, oh no, that's the best way to do it. It's hard to build a business in that sense. Not saying you couldn't do it. Yeah. Right? You could have totally done it.
You got to do what your heart's in, man.
100%. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, hey, if life is opening the doors on this side, kind of like take a hint, right? Yeah. It's like, hey, the universe is telling you, hey, come over here. This is kind of like where you should be.
Yeah.
And some people don't get the hint. They don't take the hint, that the universe is giving them.
Yeah.
So, and it's the same thing with business, right? Like going back to business is, do not try to solve a problem that doesn't exist.
Right.
Right. Find the problem first.
Yep.
And then try to solve that problem. That's all business is.
Yep.
Sometimes we want to say, okay, I want the solution before the problem even exists. It's like, come on, like, no.
Yeah. I always tell people when it comes to business, I look at it as you got to create the canyon.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's a canyon, there's an issue.
Yeah.
Right. And then you got to go create the bridge.
Correct.
And if you can create a big enough canyon, a big enough problem, and that bridge is going to be the solution, you're going to be successful.
Yeah.
But if you're building a bridge on flat ground, and there's no issue, then no one cares.
And the thing is, the canyon already exists, right? All you're doing as a salesperson is just shedding light on and basically telling people, hey, look, this is a real problem you have.
Perspective.
Let me tell you why, you know? But that already exists. It's already there. You know what I mean? But obviously you're building a bridge, which is a solution.
Yep.
And at that point, money is no object because you want the solution. You understand that the problem is big enough that you just want the solution.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I know that, obviously as a young person, right? Being in front of all these people, performing and all of that must have been pretty nerve-wracking, right?
Oh yeah, it was nerve-wracking for sure, and I think that's what got me into drugs at a younger age. Was
gotcha.
I was like, I don't know how to deal with all this, you know what I mean? And for me, like I got into music too.
Yeah.
I kind of chased everything a 16-year-old chased.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a magic guy. I wanted to be a rapper.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a music producer. Yeah. Like, let's put movie star.
Can you sing?
No, I cannot sing.
You cannot sing. You can rap.
I can rap. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
And, you know, obviously that's none of those are my main occupation today.
Yeah.
You know, I don't stand in front of my sales organization and say, hey, I'm a rapper.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, I did it. I filmed music videos. I made 20 grand on iTunes on one song.
Wow.
I kind of like,
what's the name of the song?
Ventured into everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's called See Only.
See Only?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm going to listen to it.
Yeah. It's on Apple Music still. You can listen to my 17-year-old self just going. And it was all from Germany too. So, that like downloaded the song.
Really?
It was back in the day where you had to pay 99 cents for a song. Oh. Like you couldn't have the Apple Pass.
Gotcha.
And just download unlimited music.
So maybe you just got popular in like a really neighborhood or whatever. Yeah. And they start buying your song.
Whatever it was. I always said, hey, if I go to Germany one day, they might be like, hey, that's See Only. You know? I'm like, hey, what's up, man?
Was that your rapper name?
That was my rapper name. Yeah.
See Only?
See Only. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, there was a few different ones. Dude. But it was cool, man. Like mixing that with sales. Like I have a music video online that I have my whole sales crew in it.
Yeah.
You know, and we're waking up for a morning meeting and I'm like, hey guys, instead of going to work today, let's go film this music video.
Yeah.
And I was just young, having fun, man. Like I wasn't really chasing money as much as people probably would think.
Yeah.
I was just kind of creating value.
Yeah.
And the money followed it.
Yep.
You know, and once I, you know, started creating more and more value, just more and more money started following.
100%.
You know, those are the crazy years of life. Like, you know, every year after that, it does get a little bit more boring.
Yeah.
You know, but it gets a lot more
stable.
Like I went from doing drugs and addicted to bad things at 17, 18 years old to getting with my wife at 19.
Yeah.
Changing my entire life.
Yep.
Changing my entire friend group.
Yep.
Which is really hard.
Yep.
Right? Like if you have best friends that you do everything with, and then you just leave them behind.
Correct.
To go start your new life.
Yeah.
And that's why I rock redemption, you know, on my hat. And that's my brand, is because I knew that I wasn't where I wanted to be. And I knew I needed to make changes. I was just really scared.
Yeah.
You know, I was really scared to go and make those changes by myself.
Yeah.
And fortunately, all my friends were not on the same page with me of stopping the drugs and getting serious about the job. And like, hey man, we're just getting older.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have any diplomas. We dropped out of high school. There's no road back to mom's house for me. I got to make this work.
Yeah.
And when that kicked in, it was, okay, I got to make some changes.
Did you have an actual epiphany or kind of like those aha moments? Did you have an actual moment for that, or that made you change?
Yeah, I actually got fired.
Okay.
I was working at this, with this manager in sales in Ohio.
Okay. What were you selling?
I was selling TV. Okay. So it was like AT&T DirecTV.
So
satellite, that wave. And my manager was doing cocaine and partying and just like he was doing all of that. And I knew that I wanted to get away from that.
Okay.
But I didn't know how to admit it. And I just kind of had this epiphany like, hey man, I'm going to end up being one of these guys that are 25 or 30 years old, addicted to drugs, knocking on doors.
Correct.
I didn't want that.
Yeah.
So we started dividing. Like I started like resenting him in a way, and the team started feeling that.
Got it.
And I started to try to turn other people against him.
Yeah.
Saying like, hey, you know, you guys can just come work for me.
Yep.
I'm not going to do it like he does it.
Yep.
You know, I'm not going to be doing cocaine on the weekends and no one knows where their paycheck is, or it's not structured. Like when you work in a bad sales group, you figure out everything you don't want. Right? You're like, man, I don't want this. If I was running this business, these are all the things I would change.
Yeah.
That was my epiphany.
Yeah.
And as soon as that happened, I got fired.
Yeah.
Because he saw it.
Yeah.
He's
he
like,
didn't
dude,
like it.
He's like, this guy's going to take everyone from me.
Yeah.
He's a cancer in my team.
Gotcha.
He's getting people to turn on me.
Yeah.
And I was.
Even though you were doing something that was right, for him, you were a threat. Yeah.
I was a threat. So I got in my car. I was forced to leave.
Yeah.
And I was driving back to P.I.G.
Yeah.
And on the way back, I was like, man, I'm going to go start this thing called redemption.
Okay.
And I'm going to go change everything bad about me and replace it for good.
Wow. That's amazing.
In a weird way, when I got to P.I.G is when I got with my wife.
Yeah.
She was so stable, man.
Yeah.
She had her own job. She had her own house. She was paying her own bills.
Yeah.
We'd known each other from middle school and elementary school because we're from the same town. So she, I was gonna go hang out with her and see whatever. And I was very impressed. I was like, man, you're like the only girl I've talked to our age that like has your stuff figured out.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I need in my life right now.
Yeah.
Like I've been doing all this crazy stuff. I need some stability. And I asked her, I was like, hey, I'm moving to Utah. My plan was to go live next to 2 millionaires. I didn't know what else was going to happen after.
Yeah.
I was like, I know 2 millionaires in Utah. They're living in Logan, Utah.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know anybody in Utah. I have no friends, no family there. It could be a fresh start for me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to go move to Utah and surround myself by 2 people that have family, that have everything I kind of wanted at the time. And I asked her to move with me.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, are you willing to quit your job and move to Utah with me?
Yeah.
And her mom called, her brothers called and said, hell no, you ain't moving with this guy. Heck no. They called me and said, you better not let her come with you, and like lots of threats.
Oh my gosh.
Which made sense. She had her stuff together and they were worried
that... You guys were at the same age?
Yeah. Okay. She's 1 year younger than me.
Got it. Okay.
But I was 19 and she was 18.
Okay.
So it's like, hey, you're going to go move with this boy to Utah, and what happens when he just leaves you?
Yep.
You're screwed.
Yeah.
And, it's kind of weird because, you don't just move in with your girlfriend right away.
Yeah.
And that's how it was for me.
Yeah.
Like we just moved in together right away and we got to learn each other living together.
Yeah.
So it was different than dating a girl for 2 years and then moving in and all that,
Yep.
So it was a little rushed, but it was perfect for me.
Yeah.
And that's when I really started to change.
Wow.
And get better. And it's like, man, I can't tell this girl I'm successful and all these things when I'm really not.
Yeah.
So it kind of forced that change on me.
So she ended up moving with you then to Utah?
Yep. She moved with me to Utah.
Her better judgment.
Yep. Against her better judgment. And now we have a beautiful family together.
That's amazing, man. Congrats.
Thank you. I have 2 boys.
Uh-huh.
Just the best guys, best little guys ever. And she's the best wife ever, man.
That's great.
Like, I really
thank goodness for great wives,
I really tell people, like, if you're young and you're in a relationship and the girl is trying to go this way and you're trying to go that way, it's really hard.
Yeah.
Like somebody has to compromise.
And that's the thing. So there's 2 concepts there. One of them is like, hey, you can never change the other person.
Right.
Which again, you're living proof that that's not the case. Like your wife changed you. Yeah. Again, not because she wanted to change you,
but naturally.
It just happened, right? Yeah. Because you wanted to change, and obviously you wanted to have that stability that she was going to give you. Yeah. So there's synergy there, right? Yeah. I mean, synergy is 1 + 1 is no longer 2. It's 1 + 1 could be 4, it could be 5, could be 8. Yeah. And that's what people sometimes they don't understand. It's like, no. I'm gonna do me, or like you've heard the one-liner says, "You do you." Yeah, it's just so wrong. It's so selfish. Yeah. And obviously marriage or getting with somebody like a spouse, or a partner, it could be in business. Yeah, it proves that concept wrong. You know, it's where you're serving, where you're actually some days, like you said, you're actually giving a lot of your energy, to that other person. But the next day when you need it, they're going to actually give it to you.
Oh, yeah. And I needed it. Like,
100% you needed it.
When we first got together, I was like, hey, like, if this is going to work, I'm going to be moving across the country. Yeah. I don't know where we're going to be living next month. I'm in a sales job. Yeah. I don't know what product I'm going to be selling. Yeah. Like we might have to move to Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana. I don't know.
Yeah.
Are you sure you're willing to go on this ride with me?
Yeah.
Because it's going to be crazy. Like,
yeah,
we're not going to be able to have friends and build a community around us because we're going to be moving all the time.
Yeah.
And she was.
Yeah, 100%.
And she supported me. And a lot of guys ask me like, dude, how did you get so successful in the industry at a young age? And I'm like, honestly, I think it's because I wasn't focused on chasing girls and spending money. And I already had all that.
Yeah.
And all my time and energy went into the job.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't worried about that. I already had it.
100%.
And I just got lucky, a girl that treated me right and didn't screw me over.
Yeah.
You know, not everybody gets that.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes they think they meet the one and that one ends up cheating on them or they end up crushing them. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's really hard to recover from that. I can't imagine.
100%.
But I do say a lot of my success comes from that stability.
And I don't think, that you got lucky. I think that you were ready for it and the universe gave it to you because you were ready for a change and you were asking for a change. You know, obviously you went back to Paige. You actually saw something in her.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you were not at the bar partying, trying to get laid.
Right.
You saw something in her. You're like, hey, that stability, that's what I want.
Yeah.
I want that for my life.
She was buying stuff for me. I was like, what? This is weird.
This is weird.
All my other friends have to pay for everything for their girls.
Yeah.
She's like, no, don't pay for me. And I was like, that's cool.
Well, because it's a true partnership, right?
Yeah.
And talking about partnerships, like, there's two kinds of people in this life. One that is a battery and another one's a vacuum, So batteries are the ones that you talk to just for 2 minutes and then you have plenty of energy for the rest of the day.
Right.
Vacuum, same thing. You talk to them for 1 minute
and
then the rest of the day,
you're energy suckers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what happens is, man, when you find that, special someone that is going to be a battery for you, right? When you need it. But then some days you have to be that battery for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's a give and take 100%,
I heard something and I've used it now with my wife. That's, you got to be at 100%.
Yep.
And both of you make 100.
Correct.
Right. And some days I'll be like, hey, where are you at right now?
Yeah.
And she'll be like, hey, I'm at a 30% right now.
Yeah.
That means I need to go be the 70.
Yeah.
Right. And to communicate like that is healthy.
Yeah.
It's like some days I walk in and I'm like, hey, I'm at 10%.
Yeah.
I'm burnt. I've had a really long day.
Yeah.
Shit's going on.
Yeah.
People are leaving. I'm losing money. Whatever the situation is, I'm at 10. I need you to be 90.
Yeah.
Like I just don't got it in me.
100%.
But it can't always be that every time, right? It's got to change. It's got to fluctuate.
Yeah.
Sometimes she's at a 10%. She's like, you better take these damn kids and go do something with them because you've been gone for 2 weeks and I've been here,
Yes.
But yeah, I agree with that 100%. That's the way I like to look at it.
Well, and that's the way partnerships are, you know, or should be at least.
Yeah. It's not 50-50. It's just,
no, it isn't.
It's not. You're never going to be at a perfect 50-50. And if you think you are, you're crazy. It's always some different type of split. And the important part is that you just get to 100.
Yeah.
The other person steps in when the other person's down.
Yeah. Like I'm reading this book. I just finished reading it. It's called The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek.
Okay.
And it talks about, business being infinite, not really finite, right?
Okay.
So in that book, it talks about that principle of, hey, when you go into business, don't think of it as it's going to be one thing you're going to arrive. You never arrive.
Right.
And that's kind of hard for us to understand because we, like you talk about, I don't know, football. What's your favorite sport?
Golf.
Golf. Okay.
All day. I can talk about golf for 3 hours.
Perfect. So there's definitely an end to that game. There's rules, there's everything. And then at the end you get a score and then you either win or you lose, right?
Right.
But business doesn't work that way.
No.
Right? It's ongoing. It keeps going. You either have good, odds or bad odds. Right. That's it, So when you're on top of the hill, that means like you've been doing a lot of decisions and the likelihood of you succeeding is way higher. Right? Yeah. Because you're over here. Yeah. You were over here, the likelihood of you going out of business very high too.
Yeah.
So that is the whole concept of understanding that, hey, in partnership. So when you're like, let's not even talk about like a spouse, but like, let's say you start a business and you have team members, right? Employees. It's the same thing, right? I mean, they're going to see that in you. And if you can understand that, It's a long-term thing. Like, for example, you have a guy, it's your guy for 5 years, right? I mean, he's running your sales teams. He's like producing, he's transacting, he's like building, everything is great, but then all of a sudden his wife got cancer and he needs to be there for her. Right. And he goes and basically, needs to take 3 months off or 6 months off, however long, we don't know.
It takes, yeah.
Exactly. But guess what? In corporate America, that guy gets fired.
Yeah.
He doesn't get a pension.
No.
He doesn't get anything, dude.
They don't care.
They don't care. So, the thing is here, it's like, and that's what, this book talks about. It's like the infinite game. Imagine that guy understanding that, hey, Dylan is going to take care of me no matter what.
Right.
In 6 months, I have my job back.
Right.
How much loyalty do you think you're going to get from that guy?
A lot.
Lifer.
Yeah, he's a lifer.
He's a lifer.
For sure.
Right? And did you do it because you want to be a good guy, because you care about him? No, it's because you're playing the infinite game.
Right.
That's why you did it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Obviously, it was probably the right thing to do anyway.
Right.
To take care of them and whatever. But the thing is, like, we are in a society that at the end of the day, that guy, maybe it's not cancer. I mean, that's the worst thing could happen. But I mean, it's something else that you need to focus on, something else. Maybe it's your kid, maybe something with family, right?
Yeah.
And I had most recently, we did a company retreat, and I did a workshop with my, leadership team. And I told them, hey, at the end of it, I told them, hey, I want you to share the worst story the worst thing that's ever happened in your life. Okay.
Yeah.
And please tell us, and how did you cope with it? Or how did you overcome it? And out of it was 12 of us. Out of 12, I think 11 of us spoke about family, death, or a big, basically, sickness.
Mm-hmm.
None of us talked about, it was something that happened in the company, or, the worst thing, right? So that is the part where we need to understand what really matters most.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
I think too, there's guys that are like, hey, I'm with you to the very end.
Yeah.
They say that, but then there's a second side of the sword that's like, as long as I get what I want.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys are really not in it to the very end.
No.
Right? They're like, hey, I'm here as long as I get what I want.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't give me what I want,
mm-hmm.
I'm going to leave.
Correct.
Those guys are hard to build a business around.
Oh, 100%.
Because you're right. When you are in a downturn or things are rough or whatever the scenario is,
yep.
If those guys aren't going to stick with you, they could end you, 100%. Especially if they're the only guys that you have.
Yep.
And in this industry, you get a lot of that.
Yeah.
Right? And a lot of that in the sales. But that's why I really like family-owned businesses.
Yeah.
I think for me, when I finally started my own companies,
mm-hmm.
Like Clark's Cribs, my wife's the CEO, her mother-in-law is our accountant.
Yeah.
I try to really keep things in the family.
Yeah.
Because we are going to get that, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of that ultimate connection of, hey, if something goes wrong, you're still going to have a job. You're still going to get paid. I know I can truly count on you.
100%.
At the end of the day. And it's really hard to find that with people that are not, directly related to you or that you have a past with.
Yeah.
You can't just go start a company with two guys you just met yesterday
100%.
and have that type of feel.
Yep.
It takes years.
Yep.
And I tell my guys that all the time. I said, hey, we're in the solar industry right now, but we might not be forever.
Yep.
And the next business that we do.
Yep.
Right now, it's really important to develop trust with each other.
Yeah.
Get through the highs and the lows.
Yep.
So the next thing that does happen, it's very clear who we want to start the next company with.
Yeah.
Who your partners are going to be.
Yes.
Because it's like, hey, we've been already working together for the last 10 years together.
Yeah.
Those are the guys I'm going to go bet on.
It's true.
Over everybody else.
Oh, 100%. I actually, there's this guy that's kind of related to us a little bit on my wife's side of the family. And when I started my business, he was already an entrepreneur, doing really great. And I kind of saw in him as oh, wow, he's got a bunch of family working for him.
Yeah.
But that guy, bro, he's into rodeoing and into all these things. And he lives, he has a lot of free time.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's kind of what I want. I just want to be the money guy.
Yeah.
Like I look at a business as you got the brains.
Yeah.
You have the worker.
Yeah.
And then you have the money guy.
Yeah.
The worker is the guy that's going to work at the business.
Yeah.
Like I went and start this pest control company.
Yeah.
I found a guy that's been doing pest control for 8 years.
Yep.
He knows it. He knows the customers. He understands the chemicals. He knows everything about the business in and out. He is the worker. He's going to be doing 65 hours a week there, right? And then I got to go find the brains.
Yep.
Who's going to make sure the marketing's right, the pricing right, the customer offerings right.
Yep.
What areas are we targeting? How are we going to make sure we're staying profitable? So on and so forth.
Yeah.
And then you get the money guy.
Yeah.
He brings the funds to make it all happen.
100%.
I love being the money guy.
Yeah.
Right? Because, you know, you can have all these fun businesses, but you don't have to tie down all your time.
Well, yeah.
Working at them all the time.
100%. And you're creating opportunities too, you know, because sometimes we say, oh, I'm the money guy, but like that could be misconstrued in the sense of, oh, you just want to be the guy on the top or you just don't want to work. No. It's just the fact that, hey, I'm also creating more opportunities for other people.
Right.
Right.
I'm creating an arena that you guys get to play in.
It's a platform. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. 100%.
And there's mutual benefit there.
Yes.
Know? And plus, like, it's not like, hey, I want to be completely out of it. Like, you still want to be in the business.
Oh, you will
help
always
make decisions,
be. I mean, you're an entrepreneur, yes.
But you just don't want to be there every day.
They probably don't want you there, but you will be there.
Yeah. I don't want to be there. If I'm there, something's wrong.
Yes.
You guys, what's going on here?
Yeah. And what, you know, like, truth be told, like, for me, I can tell you, like, I went through a path of kind of mimicking what he was doing, and it didn't work for me. That's kind of where I was getting at. It's like, it just didn't work for me. I don't know, maybe because I'm too much of a perfectionist, or I know that's the right way of doing it, in all honesty. Now that I'm like on this side, like 7 years into my business, I'm like, okay, maybe I should have stuck with it. But for me, it was really hard to have family around because it was like, I cannot be completely like heartless kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like, hey,
yeah.
I'm going to have to cut you off. I'm going to have to let you go. I'm going to have to make moves. And that's kind of what worked for me, you know, that's kind of what worked for me. And as soon as I kind of made that shift, we started skyrocketing because I felt like I could be myself in the sense of I can make moves, right?
You're not making moves off of emotions. You're making moves off of data.
Correct. And again, that works for this guy, man. Like, he's got a lot of money and he's like amazing and it works for him. It just didn't work for me.
Didn't work for you.
You know what I mean?
It's different. Everybody has different family.
Oh, that's true.
You know, like some family, they're like,
my family's great, actually, for the record.
Yeah. Some are like, you know, willing to do everything, and others are like trying to steal your business from you.
That's true. You're right.
You know, and maybe family's the wrong word. Maybe it's just deep relationships.
Yeah, correct.
People that you can just trust.
You're right.
You know what I mean? It
100%.
doesn't have to be blood, you know. I think most of my family nowadays are people that I'm not even related to.
That's true.
That I consider family. I consider family.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. And a lot of people, you know, they come and say, hey, you know, never hire family. And other people say, just hire family. But
it's a mix.
I don't think it is a mix, man. It's up to you. And like you said, it's really depending on what kind of family you have anyway.
Yeah. You got to make sure you're hiring the right people. I mean, the whole goal of a CEO, in my opinion, is to develop people under you.
Yeah. To
run the company where if you're not there, nothing changes.
Yeah.
Everything is ran exactly how it would have been ran if you were there full time.
Correct.
Your entire goal of a CEO is to replace yourself.
Yep.
Right? And to develop people under you to eventually take your job, your position, you know, and run the company as if you were there, but not being there, which ultimately frees up time for you to go do something else.
Yep.
Right. That's, you know, you look at Elon Musk.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the guy's built up a company, developed people under him, left.
Yeah.
Developed the next company, developed people under him, left.
Yep.
And that's why I like starting businesses.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can 20 or 30x a company.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard to do that in real estate.
Yeah.
It's really hard to do that in stocks.
Market, yeah.
Right. But in a business, you can start 10 companies, 8 of them can fail.
Yeah.
But if 200x, who cares?
Exactly.
You know, and it's just fun developing people, and that's mainly what I'm into now.
Yeah.
Is developing, getting people to become, the better version of themselves and to really step into a position so I can have free time to go do other things.
Because it's rewarding too, it's rewarding to see this person that came in, like you were talking about kids, right?
Yeah.
You give them tools, you give them knowledge, and then all of a sudden, boom, they're making money, they have stability.
Yeah.
And all these things. But you cannot achieve that if, you, number one, didn't have the right mentors, kind of like what you said.
Yep.
And number two,
That's
it's like
so
you said,
important, man.
The right people around you. It's all about people, man.
So important. People are your biggest asset. The best real estate that you ever have in your entire life are between both your ears.
Yes.
It's you, man.
Yeah.
I tell the kids, like, what should I invest into? And I'm like, if you don't know what to invest into, you need to invest into yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you just need to educate yourself. Like, become smarter, become better, learn. Like, the technology and the internet has so many things I could just tell you how to do it now.
Yeah.
And everybody is a coach online.
Yes.
So, but the thing that is going to separate people in business is, are you listening to the guy that's pretending to be a coach?
Yeah.
And you're getting advice from somebody that's a know-it-all but doesn't really have anything?
Yeah.
Or are you getting advice from the guy that actually has done it?
Yes.
And a lot of people try to, be that know-it-all, but that hasn't done it.
Yep.
For me, I tell my guys every day, I don't know everything.
Yep.
I'm still a student.
Yep.
And I think, there's different levels of learning. The number one level of learning is when you're teaching. You learn the most. You learn the most when you're teaching.
Yes.
And, to be able to continue to teach, you have to be able to continue to learn.
Yeah.
Or are you just teaching the same thing over and over and over again?
Yeah.
And for me, like, I was all about sales, sell, but then something switched and I was like, man, I'm just going to go full into development.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm going to spend all my time doing moving
100%.
forward. It's just developing people.
Yeah.
But the right people.
The right people. 100%. And it's hard, right? It's hard to know who's the right people or who's not. But along the way, you start finding them, right? And then you're like, hey, stick with me. I'm going to engineer a way for you to, as I grow, you grow, and everybody's happy.
Yep.
Because, like we all talk about, hey, you got to own your business. You got to own you don't really necessarily need to own. You don't need to be the guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't need to be the guy.
Yeah.
Right? There's this concept of entrepreneurs and intrapreneurs, right? I mean, you can be that guy that is helping the other guy grow. And then at the end of the day, you both get benefited,
Yeah. I used to be the guy that wanted to be in the spotlight all the time. But now I find more joy putting someone else in it.
Yeah.
The way that they are smiling and happy and just, them calling you and being like, man, I just got my biggest check of my life.
Yeah.
And I just put an offer on a house.
Yeah.
And I would have never done this without you.
Yeah.
That feels so much better than calling the guy being like, hey, I just made the most money in my life and I'm putting an offer on a house.
Yeah.
Of course, it feels good to have your own success.
Correct.
But dude, like, that next level joy truly is giving somebody else something that you've gotten before and watching them experience it for the first time.
Yes.
And you mentioned P.I.G in the very beginning.
Yes.
And that's kind of like, my purpose in life at this point. And I'm glad I have one.
Yeah.
Because to be in your 20s and know what you are stand for and to have a purpose, I would say is pretty rare.
Yeah.
Most people are like, what does purpose mean? Like, for me, it's to protect, inspire, and serve others.
Yeah.
I find the most joy out of it.
Yeah.
I've made the most money out of it. Like, everything has just gotten better from focusing on those things, like protecting the people that I love, protecting my family, protecting my net worth, protecting my people's net worth, inspiring others, saying, hey, if I can do it, you could do it. Like, there's really nothing special. Like, I'm a kid from a trailer park that grew up poor and had drugs surrounded by me.
Yeah.
And then to serve.
Yep.
Me and my wife for Christmas right now, we just called up an elementary school. And I was like, hey, I want to give back to the community.
Yep.
Like, you guys know your students more than anybody. Do you know 3 families that are struggling right now this time of year that we can go make their Christmas?
Yeah.
I don't like the Wish Foundation stuff because you never know where it's really going.
Yeah.
And I feel like that kind of kills the joy. Yeah. It's like, cool, like it's going to some kid, awesome. But like when we went and dropped those gifts off at that school, man, one, no one ever does it.
Yeah.
The principal's like, no one has ever called us wanting to like make somebody's Christmas. Like, are you okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah.
And then when they walk in and they see I'm in my 20s, they're like checking my heartbeat. Like, is this guy, like, are you all right?
Yeah.
Like, no one's putting you up to this?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. Like,
is this a YouTube
they're like, you got
prank?
kids at this school? Or I'm like, my kids are too young to go to school.
Yeah.
It's like, I literally just want to give back and I want to feel the joy of it.
Wow. That's amazing, dude.
So
Good for you.
Those three things, man, like.
It actually stands for give, right? G?
Yeah.
Give.
Yeah,
okay.
give.
Just because you say serve, and then some people will be like, where's the G?
Yeah. Give, serve.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Yes. Yeah.
But like every decision that I now make, whether it's business, family, personal, I'm always trying to make sure those are kind of my core values.
Yeah.
Am I protecting? Am I inspiring?
Yeah.
And am I able to give?
Yeah.
If I go do this adventure?
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not going to touch that company or go into that business if I don't feel like I get that out of it.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, man, just going along with what you're saying, normally I wouldn't share this, but just because you shared it, we basically, there's this company, you know, basically it's kind of like a foundation for the solar industry, right? And basically every solar panel that is installed, there's going to be somebody in Kenya or Colombia or something like that. They're going to get power. And I know I'm not saying that's not a noble cause. We were doing it for a while.
That's cool.
But then I just realized it's like, hold on, I'm not in Kenya. I'm not in Colombia, right?
In America,
I'm in Arizona.
Yeah, you're in Arizona.
That's right.
You're in Tempe.
So how do I, you know, give back in my community? So we stopped doing that at the beginning of the year. We created a foundation called Do Bright.
Okay.
So basically with this foundation, every solar panel installed basically kind of gives to that pot, you know, that we can give a solar system for free, you know, at the end of the year. And so basically we started that in January and we were looking like October. I called my wife. I'm like, hey, we got to start looking for this person. We're going to give these solar panels to, like, we got to find that person, you know, or that family.
Yeah.
So we were looking and all of a sudden, like I saw this police officer.
Mm-hmm.
He passed away. Basically in the line of duty. Yeah. And I saw this. It was in the news. It was all over the news here in Phoenix. And basically, I just had a feeling. I'm like, I think I want to do it for that wife and that kid that they just lost their father, their husband. Yeah. But I was just like, that morning, I was just had that feeling in my heart.
Just came to you. Yeah.
Well, all of a sudden, you know, I came into the office and I talked to somebody in our leadership team, and she's kind of new in the company, and I was talking to her and she had taken the day off the day before, and I said, like I thought it was just she went on vacation or something. I said, well, how was your day off? Did you enjoy it? Oh, it's actually a funeral, she says, and I said, a funeral? Yeah, my boyfriend. He actually was in the same squad as this police officer that got killed. Yeah. And I said, wow.
So just connected the dots right there.
I just said, hey, can you put me in touch? Yeah. With the wife, you know, the widow. Yeah. And we got in touch, bro. Yeah. And we're actually going to be installing this system on Saturday.
Let's go.
Yes.
So dude, we're excited and it feels so good to like do something for your community. Dude, yes. Now you can drive by her house. Yes. And know like, man, I did that. Yeah. You know, and I actually impacted something that I can see. And it's not that we don't want to help people that you can't see. It's just, it's different, right? Like you want to get addicted to the right things. Correct. There's no problem getting addicted to watching somebody be happy because you gave them something. Yes. There's no problem with that. 100%. And some people are like, well, dude, it shouldn't matter where the money goes. And it shouldn't matter if you see the person get the gift or not. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, you can think that way. Yeah. But I'm getting addicted to the joy that it gives me. Correct. And that motivates me to get more money and to be more successful because then I can give more. Yeah. And the more you get, the more you give. And the people that I know that are the most successful, 100 million, you know, reaching $1 billion even. These guys give so much. More than anybody. Yes. And I say money just amplifies your personality. Yeah. If you're a shitty person and you want to do bad in the world, and you get a lot of money, you're going to be able to do a lot of bad.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But if you're a good person and you actually want to help people, inspire people, and give back to your community, if you end up with a lot of money, you're just going to amplify that.
Yeah.
And that's like, to me, I don't even understand why people go the other way.
Well, and the truth is this, like with this example specifically, it's like police officers, they have a bad rap nowadays, right?
Oh yeah. It's tough. No one wants to be one because of that.
And also it's a tough job anyway.
Yeah.
Right? It is a tough job. These guys are putting their lives on the line every day for you or my safety.
Yep.
You know, so it's a form of us saying thank you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How can we say thank you to the people in our community that are doing this for us, you know?
Yeah.
So that's the part where it comes. It's not that you want to not give money to people that probably need it, not more, but also need it in another country.
Yeah.
It's a matter of like, no, hold on a second. Maybe if I have more money, I would do it.
Yeah.
But my little money that I have to give, right?
Yeah.
I want to give it to people that are here.
Yeah.
Because these are the people that I'm surrounding myself with. You know, I want to thrive here. You know, I want for them to feel like, wow, these guys were grateful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And not because I want them to look at me like that. It's just, I want to show my gratitude.
Yeah. It feels good, and it shows your respect, you know?
Yes.
And I give back to my family a lot too. And I know a lot of guys that are probably listening to this and they're wondering like what motivates them.
Yeah.
Like, what's your drive in life? What's going to make you go through all the hard days?
Yeah.
A lot of people say family.
Yeah.
You know, I want to give my mom a better life.
That's her why.
Everything she did for me, or my sister, or whatever the scenario is.
Yeah.
But there's something that is different about giving to somebody that's not related to you. You don't know.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't know that person.
No.
You heard her story. You know, her husband passed away. You knew he was a cop.
Yeah.
You could understand the situation.
Yeah.
But it's not like you really knew her.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something magical about getting a gift from somebody you don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, it's true, like no intentions, no motive. I'm doing this because I want to give back.
100%.
When you give back to your mom, like I handed my mom a $10,000 check this year.
Good for you, man.
You know, she was stoked.
Yeah.
And I was stoked.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel like when I went and give those gifts to those kids.
Yeah, of course.
It was different.
Totally different.
And there's so many ways to give back.
Oh,
you can give
100%.
back to your own family, to other people, and that's what should motivate people to go have a successful business.
Yeah.
You know, is like rooted in giving back and just the feeling that gives you.
Yeah. Do you know Hershey, Pennsylvania, where there's like the factory of the Hershey, the chocolates?
I don't know too much about it, but
okay.
Yeah.
So the main guy, this is like decades ago. Okay. Mm-hmm. When it was a downturn through the Great Depression.
Okay.
This guy basically was giving these people, jobs and everything. When nobody was buying chocolates, he kept them on the payroll.
Okay.
And it was part of the community that basically Hershey, Pennsylvania was basically the chocolate factory. So everybody worked for him. Yeah. Right? So he was giving back to his community in that sense, you know? And that's what happens, right? People don't understand that businesses, like business owners, they realize that hey, the more I give, the more I get. Yeah. And that's the part where, like, if I tax the heck out of you, I'm going to bring you down. And at the end of the day, the whole community is going to be down. Yeah. But if I help you, I make sure that you're being successful as an entrepreneur, 99% of the time, you're actually going to end up giving back because you're going to understand that it's going to come back to you. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And maybe you don't do it for that reason, but that's what's going to happen no matter what. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I like that.
So anyway, man, I want to ask you this question, and this is kind of something that we started a couple episodes ago. Okay. Which is, if you could be an animal, what animal would you be?
Oh, man, the fifth grade question. If I could be an animal, what animal would I be? Yes. I would probably be, and that's a good one. I would say, man, there's a couple of them. But I think I would want to be, people are going to say the king of the jungle, the lion. You can be two animals. I think the lion is cool because, you kind of the pack leader. Yeah. You are you kind of like, you're just like the boss. You're the main dude. You're strong. You're strong.
You're a protector.
You're a protector. You're a hunter. You're You're a provider in that way. But they're also very selfish.
Yeah.
Lions are selfish, man. Yeah. They'll kill what they have to eat, you know? Yeah. So, you know, I know this sounds silly, but dude, I think being a dog would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, why? Man. I mean, because you get loved your whole life.
Yeah.
You know, like it's one of the animals that actually get to have a relationship with a human.
Yeah.
You know, and they get to build something there. You know, they're not just running around the jungle trying to eat food and that's it their whole life and whatever. Yeah. You know, it's like, hey, you could be a dog that hunts. Yeah. And you're going on these hunts and you're helping figure it out and you're planning and you're getting trained and you could be in the airport sniffing people's bags. I mean, like, there's so many different things you could do as a dog, man.
Yeah, that's right.
You could be a celebrity.
You're useful.
Yeah. You know, you're useful. You could help other people, you know. Yeah. I always said, like, the dog's got the best life. You know, as long as he's got a good owner. Yeah. You got a good owner, man, like, you got a good life. That or a horse. Same thing. Yeah. Like, horses are so free. People love them. They respect them. They take care of them. They're praised, and they make people happy. Dogs make people happy. You know, I want to talk about joy. Yeah, dude, the dog gives you joy. It's the man's best friend.
There you go.
And for me, I'm a relationship guy, so that's probably what I'd say.
It's amazing, bro.
You know, I hate being alone, and I love relationships, so I'd probably be a dog.
Awesome.
Anybody say that?
No.
Hell no. Huh? He's like, who the hell would want to say that? In life,
nobody wants to be a dog.
You know what? In sales, they say I'm a dog. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go get the money.
That's right. That's right.
So there's many ways you can be a dog, man. And if you're hating on the dog animal, you need to switch it up. Because you need to rethink this shit.
Yes, 100%. Well, Dylan, thank you so much for being on the pod, man. We appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Thank you.